What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. LexxExpress checking in with my first impressions on WWE 2k23. Happy launch day. Now it's available for everyone that got the standard edition as well as the deluxe and icon. So I am very happy to do this video for you guys today to kind of just put my thoughts out there on how much I've been enjoying 2k23, which has been a lot of fun this year. So for starters, I'm going to stick to the basics, man. I absolutely love the menu. They built it off of the base from 2K22, which was very plain and not as colorful. This one with the neon tones and the Titantrons playing in the background, it gives it a cool vibe. And it's easy on the eyes, man. Super enjoyable. Everything is easy to access. And when you get into your first exhibition match, I love how they now put it this way, where you just put the match type, the match rules, and the arena you want to jump into, and boom, you're already starting off to select your character. I thought that last year, you know, coming in here, changing the arena, tweaking this, I thought it was annoying. You know, so to be able to do that here and also adjust, you know, within the actual character selection screen, it's a warm welcome that is not talked about enough. So when you look at 2K23 and everything that it has to offer, you ask yourself, did it really change enough to justify the 23 tag? Yes. I mean, how about Showcase? Showcase is one of those modes that a lot of people love and enjoy, but there's a group of people that don't care for it at all. This year, Showcase gave us some of the best arenas in WWE history and a lot of SummerSlams. I admit, a lot of SummerSlams. Maybe a little too much SummerSlams, but at the end of the day, I look at it like this. These are all great John Cena encounters, and we were able to go up against John Cena. And if you played it on hard or legendary, even on normal, sometimes it was challenging. So I understand if you played it on easy. I did it twice. The second time around, I did it on easy, and it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of fun though. So if you haven't played it this year, I highly recommend it. Even though you know the outcome, you know, there's some nice surprises here, like the Console of Legends that I wasn't expecting. The unlockables are very well worth it, in my opinion. So check it out as soon as you get the chance. Now, this first impressions is not a full review because I have yet to play Universe mode. I'm saving that for a later stream. And I've also been trying to get adjusted with the game, doing all these other videos, but I haven't even touched that mode just yet. My Rise, we're going to get into real soon, along with my faction and my GM too. So I got to be honest with you guys. My first impressions is literally just the creation suite, online, showcase, and exhibition matches. Now, online right now, it's the same as last year in terms of creating your lobby, inviting your peeps, or even joining a match. The leaderboards, they didn't really touch up anything. I wanted them to give us like some banners and profiles, profile pictures to earn, but nothing like that. There's no different rankings. It's just the same exact thing they did last year with quick play, community, and the online options is just for your server basically. So that was one of the modes that kind of disappointed me, but all things considered, they did add 2 match types to it. We now have an 8-man Royal Rumble online, which I've done a few of those and it's been a blast. Love it. And then you also got War Games, all right? So when you're thinking about Lex, they haven't really added new match types. We can't say that in 23 because War Games is such a complicated match, and they did so good by not only adding it, but making it work the way it runs. You could do 3v3 or 4v4, and I've had a blast when I've done it online and it's actually worked. But since it is the first week, I'm giving them a pass. The online has been a little unstable, to say the least, and I'm not really going to rate my experiences from what I've seen online so far. I'm only thinking about the good stuff and the good times that we've had on stream with the online lobbies. All right, and then when you go into the options, we have everything back from last year. The jukebox menu, the tutorials back as well. Do it. You get a couple bonuses in the tutorial. Highly recommend it. It's very accessible, and I know you guys probably feel like it's boring and time consuming, but again, with the unlockables and just seeing, you know, the basis of the game, it's really important before you get into anything else. And then, you know, just the controls and everything else that we've seen so far does pretty much explain itself. I get it. But how about the graphics? People, oh no, it looks a lot. Stop. Let's list some of the things that we see and spot and tell me if it's not a different game. For starters, look at Braun Breaker. Look at his skin texture. I know Braun Breaker wasn't in 2K22, but look, they added the CGI animations for the little, nameplate. The title looks better than ever. The crowd and the angles with the cameras are back, but it's mainly the shading and the camera effects that we see with the lighting changes and the reflection when you do some of the newer arenas. Like this one right here, I did New Year's Revolution because I'm telling you guys, the arenas that are in this game are amazing, phenomenal. And I can't stress enough how much I absolutely love the graphics in 2K23. And the NXT roster this year is better than ever, honestly. So we cannot sit here and act like we're playing the same game, because it's not. How about the American Nightmare? Cody Rhodes making his re-debut into the WWE series. And of course, I gave him the WWE Championship. Now, there is still a little bit of clipping and things that we're used to in the WWE games. That's kind of hard to get rid of. But come on. How can you sit there with a straight face and tell me it's the same? The pyro, the smoke, it's just so much better. Fine. I'm here cheesing over the graphics, Lex, but all you're doing is talking about the bells and whistles when it comes to the graphics. We all know the game looked good. 2K22 already looked good. I know. Trust me. I know. But it's something that I have to really focus on in this first impression, because with every entrance that I see, every match that I have, I'm constantly drooling over these entrances and just the reflections, textures, and just the fact that they were able to make this game look better than 2K22 to me is mind-blowing, because when I was playing 2K22, I remember saying there's no way that 23 is going to be much better than this. And they did. They always move the needle forward. As long as that's the case, they always try to move the needle forward. I would rather say that. As long as that's the case, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So let's get into this little match right here, just so I could, get into the thick of it when it comes to the gameplay itself. Because the gameplay is going to remind you a lot to 2K22, but the biggest thing this year that they've promoted a ton is the damn fatigue. The fatigue this year, it plays a big factor, honestly. It shows that just because you're winning the match and bulldozing your way through, if you run through your stamina, it's going to take effect, all right? It's going to slow you down, and it's going to give the CPU or your opponent online a better window to reverse you. And that's just the way it should be, especially when they're trying to make a simulation wrestling game. And then not only is fatigue cool to see how it plays out through the match, but as you get deeper into the match, you start to see more sweat. You start to see more damage on the body. And that's something that the game, has been missing, especially with how beautiful it looks now. You would wonder how a bruise looks or how the skin texture can get roughed up. And I think there's still room to grow in that department. But to say that they're not headed in the right direction is just, it's not right. And this game does that really, really well. Pretty much take that big step that we needed them to take in the right direction. And as long as we continue to complain and they continue to answer our call, that's all I want, man. I want them to freaking pay attention to what we say online and not just sit there and put whatever they want into the game without thinking about the fans first, because everyone wants to have a blast playing this game and running into some of their friends and just people online and just chilling with it, right? You're tired of playing all these people online and going for the same cheesy shit. So adding fatigue definitely plays a big part in that. All right, so let's stop rambling with how awesome the game looks and the gameplay, because really that's not what they improved on, in my opinion, or just the little bit that they improved on. They improved on a lot more all across the game. By now, you had to have heard that 2K23 brought back advanced entrances, and I spent so much time working on Dominic Mysterio, Bobby Lashley, just to name a few. We're going to be doing a lot more of that, and I will be posting videos for each one every single time. But look, it's not the advanced entrance that we used to have. It's not as deep or detailed, but at least you can work on the timeline, right? The intro, stage, ramp, ring in, and ring. What this means is that each motion can be completely switched out and customized to your liking. Now, one of the things that I immediately focused on when I was working on Dominic Mysterio was finding a heel that had a motion that kind of resembled what he does in real life. It's not always going to be exactly how you want it to be, where it replicates what he does on TV, especially if you can't change the camera cuts how you would like to. But Eddie Guerrero 97, for example, for me worked best. He's always talking about Eddie Guerrero. He's inspired by Eddie Guerrero. So I said, you know what? He's wearing the I'm Your Mommy shirt. Why not? That's what I did with Dom, at least. And I was able to change the lighting. I was able to go in and focus on other things that I didn't really care to do in last year's game, because it was just basic. It was just templates and regular basic motions. This year, changing everything the way that you do in the timeline, it's just outstanding to, at the very least, have that option available to us. Lex, what do you mean it's not as deep as before? What are you talking about? Well, look, when I was doing the Bobby Lashley entrance, because they have the outdated heel version of it, I realized that we need a little bit more than what they gave us to really truly customize it. We can't focus on cutting to the crowd, and the transitions are very rough. So when you're creating your superstar and then you jump into the entrance, you want it to look and have this kind of swag that unfortunately it's just not going to be able to look as smooth as the real ones. And what I'm trying to say is that when you go to the timeline and you do the intro, and then if these two animations don't match, it's going to look really, really bad unless you're covering it up with some fireworks, some lighting changes. I don't know, but I'm really in love ultimately with the fact that we have something to truly tailor the experience to what we want to do. And I'll give them credit for that and leave it there. Because if we're going to compare this to other advanced entrances in previous years, it's probably one of the more lackluster ones, if I'm honest. And this is just me being real with you guys. I could praise the game all I want and enjoy the game all I want, but I don't want to lie to you guys here. At the end of the day, in my opinion, I feel like they could have added a couple more tweaks to it and it would have been spot on. At the end of the day, look, I was able to give Bobby Lashley his fireworks. I was able to give him the smoke. I didn't give him the podium. It wasn't looking clean enough. But, you know, I was able to, at the very least, make it look somewhat like what he does in real life and how they treat him in real life during his entrance. And that's all I ever wanted, right? I wanted the option to be able to customize it to how I felt it deserved to be. Now take a look at Damian Priest. This was uploaded by Joe Mashups. Shout out to What's the Status for discovering. I think he was one of the first to discover that you can add different hairs and facial hairs to superstars. So Joe Mashups went in and did it for Damian Priest, Austin Theory. But I want to give a special shout out to those guys. And then we got a Zortheus, World's Finest, Iconic 2K. And, you know, one of our very own Witty Witterson as well, amongst other creators and people that are just hunting for those hidden gems in WWE 2k23. You guys are the ones that are keeping us updated with, you know, this awesome content. So thank you guys so much. But here is perfect example of the beauty of community creations and being able to download with the cross-platform stuff. It's amazing work that we're able to, you know, not just download custom superstars that are already in the game, but the created superstars that, oh boy, there is just so many to go through. And that's all we ever wanted and had the desire, for, right? And that's that. I keep repeating that every so often online or in this video because they answered a lot of our freaking complaints. The characters and community creations this year look better than ever. You know, when you're creating random superstars now offline or trying to create yourself, it looks ridiculous. And you know, it's not that it's a hack or a mod, it's that they look ridiculous. I mean, this Sting looks way better than any Sting we've seen before, besides, you know, the ones that were official. We're talking about community creations here, all right? And when you use them in the ring, they actually look like the superstar that they're intended to look like and mesh well with the superstars within the game. There's a couple of Jeff Hardys out there with the face paint, the, you know, the fishnet shirt, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful that we're going to be able to have, you know, superstars from other companies and we're able to create ourselves again. But what's even more beautiful is that they look as real as they do. So shout out to 2K for making this creation suite just phenomenal for us fans to keep the game updated and also do our dream matches and our rivalries with inter-promotional stuff. And when you break down the community creations, that could be a whole nother video. So I just want to end the conversation there. Amazing work from the community and the freaking game creators. Beautiful, beautiful mode here. Absolutely loving it this year more than ever. So now that we've talked about the stuff that I've actually jumped into, I want to go ahead and highly recommend WWE 2k23 to you guys. I know that I probably missed a couple things, which I will cover in my full review. This is not a full review. Just wanted to give you a snippet from some of the things that I wanted to point out and just, you know, kind of sit back and have a conversation with you guys, ramble a little bit, which I did. That's why it's a first impressions video. But I highly recommend this game. If you're waiting for a sale and you can't get it right now, or you don't care to jump into this game right now, by all means, that's fine. That's okay. Sometimes people feel like just because they don't want to get it day one, they have to go and sour the experience for everyone else. If you're one of those that want to wait, I totally get it. But guess what? This game is waiting for you, and it's very, very good. I love it. It's no secret. I'm going to give it a really high rating when I review it. I already know it. I'm going to be jumping into Universe going forward. I'm going to be jumping into my GM, my faction, my Rise, now that I'm done with Showcase, which I completed twice. I did the Showcase twice already on PlayStation and Xbox. I've also played on both consoles, and it hasn't crashed. Besides when I've played online and I've had those issues, it runs real smooth on next gen, which is where I've been playing. PS5, Series X, that's where I'm at. Add me. My gamer tag is in the description box. I'm sorry for going on for 18 minutes, but I'm not sorry. I had to put my thoughts out there in some way, shape, or form. I will see you guys real soon with the full review. Happy launch day. I'll see y'all later. Let's go.